Believe it or not, I am sitting in the Best Western Plus in Sai Yung Pung, 4 days into a quarantine. I just returned from the United States, where I was there a very short time, uh, and now I'm in quarantine and have plenty of time on my hands to think about where I'm at and where I'm going. Uh, it's splendid isolation, actually. It's splendid. You can shut the whole world out, um, and you have complete control over what you let in, who you let in. Uh, your input is completely barred by that locked door. And in a busy, hustling, bustling city like we live in here in Hong Kong, it's actually a real joy to have splendid isolation. I see a lot of positivity. I found out who my who my friends and allies really are. That's one thing. Not only just the quarantine, but the period leading up to it. All the unemployment, all the um, uncertainty, all the frustration. Um, the people you wind up hearing from, and the people that wind up wanting to hear from you, are the ones you want to keep. So that was, I lost a lot of excess baggage, social baggage, in this, and I'm grateful for that. Just to give our viewers a little background, I'm sure they might or may not be aware of the fact that musicians were prohibited from performing for months and months on end here. And the uncertainty of this long time of wondering where you were going, or at least in my case, wondering where I was going, at times became quite maddening, because it's for the first time in my life I've had no sense of self-determination as to how I could conduct myself and what I could do with myself. And when they take away your freedom of self-determination, it's a very maddening thing. When you spend your whole life being able to pay your bills, thank God, luckily, as a musician, doing what you love, and you find that that's literally not allowed. uh, it rips a hole out of your soul. I'm looking forward to a return to it. The prohibition has been recently lifted. I opt to delay my reentry into the gig pond for a couple weeks, because I was I had this opportunity to do one more courier run. Actually, what I've been doing the past month has been doing air courier, essential time critical deliveries to the United States. It actually pays pretty well. Actually, the income I made on this last run would have exceeded the income I would have made on jobs over the same time period, including the travel time and the quarantine time. I mean, not by a lot, but enough to make it smart math. And then I was able to visit my mother and my son in Los Angeles on my way home. I took 4 extra days and got to see my family on the company dime, which was great. So, it was just an opportunity I couldn't say no to. I realized, because I was thinking hard about not doing it, and I realized I'm 63 years old. I started playing the bass when I was 13. Did the math? That's 50 years. That's half a century as a bassist. And I was pretty good at 13. I mean, by the time I was 14, I was actually gig worthy. I mean, I was a prodigy, right? So, I mean, I've been this guy that plays the bass for half a century. It's not going to matter a damn whether I took the first gig that came up or waited a couple weeks and, come into the back into the pond at my own speed and, of my own choosing. And it's actually, it's nice. I've got some really good friends that have had brilliant, brilliant careers that have lost everything. It seems like the whole, mid-level of working musician. I mean, I say mid-level in that, guys like me that aren't necessarily household names. We're not superstars, but we've done a lot of stuff over the years with a lot of legitimately famous artists accompanying them, being backup musicians, studio musicians, whatever. I know several guys that have, had remarkable careers and then made comfortable livings in music that, since the lockdown have lost their homes, lost their studios, had to move in with family members, just totally reinvent themselves. I mean, the average American, they say, is like, a paycheck or two away from destitution. So you take the average musician and take away his livelihood for the better part of a year. I mean, it's just, tragedy waiting to happen. And a lot of guys are really challenged. I know a lot of fellas that are, just really, really, really facing some hard times. The music scene in Hong Kong is mainly, and has been, mainly, fun time, party time kind of bands that play venues for people that want to come and have fun. People that want to drink, people that want to party, people that want to socialize. That had been denied Hong Kong people for a long time, and reports I'm getting back from the people that have been gotten back to work. In fact, some of my bandmates that play in venues I'll be returning to soon are actually reporting record crowds, record enthusiastic crowds, because people have been starving for the opportunity to enjoy themselves. And whether they realize it or not, they had missed live music tremendously. And then once it's been reoffered to them, they're really just going crazy for it. They're really celebratory. It's like they didn't even know what they were missing until they took it away. And then when it came back, it's like, the cash registers are ringing. People are coming. So it's encouraging. I mean, that's kind of been the bulk of what I've been doing. I do hear that some of the, the wedding bands are starting to work again. There's those accounts are slowly coming back to people, and that's good. The music scene here, it's a small scene. I'd like to see some more innovative stuff going on. I'd like to find myself involved in some more interesting projects. I mean, not to dog what I've been doing over the last, decade or so here. I would love to find a talented like singer-songwriter type person that I could collaborate with. I'd love to apply myself in some fresh music. Not necessarily jazz, even though, that's been a specialty of mine. I'd love to find somebody that had a nice voice and had some good original songs that I could, either play behind or, collaborate with, help write, whatever. I'd like to feed that part of me because most of my time has been spent, as a gigging musician, a sideman, which is great. I mean, I'm good at it. I love it. I love to make the tune, make the groove, uh, make the music right, no matter what it is. I mean, if it's jazz standards, uh, cover tunes, uh, you know, big bands, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever the music is. I mean, it could be polkas or country. I like to play it right. And there's plenty of opportunities to do that here, thankfully. The music is a product of the scene. What's holding us back is that, well, number one, it's very hard to get new blood here in town because, new musicians have to be sponsored, and most of the people that are in position to sponsor incoming musicians are music agents who are purveyors of music to hotels. And what they typically offer are very pleasant but often unremarkable formulaic acts that play the songs they think people want to hear, and it's a lot of the same old song, the same old people for many years. When they do bring in new ones, I'd look for fresh sounds and fresh faces. I would look to certainly look to certain pockets in America where I know some stuff is interesting. I'd look to Europe. I'd probably spend a lot of time online researching, who's out there and who might be viable for the Hong Kong market. I'd think about what I think people might enjoy here, and I think that I would try to find something interesting. Something interesting. It's actually been my experience that if people don't know what they like, give them something good, and they're going to like it. I've seen evidence of it. I mean, I've seen evidence of it. Some of the African musicians I know that I'm lucky enough to associate with and play with often, you wouldn't think people would dig it here. You wouldn't think so, but people go wild. People respond to the I'm going to go back to Dick Clark days and say they like the beat. It's easy to dance to. You give them something that resonates with them, and they will respond. I think people are wired up the same.